What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is David Hanlon, aka the Laptop Legend, and on Friday I made, I forget exactly how much, it was a little less than $1,000 between my two accounts because it was a half day and I had to go to Florida for the weekend. I just got back, that's why this video is coming out late, so I do apologize for that, but I just want to make this video to talk about what stocks I'm watching for tomorrow because it feels like we're getting a little bit of that oomph. You know, that potential, that, I don't know what the word is, but it feels like some stuff is happening again in the OTC market finally. Stocks are getting a little bit more momentum, not a ton, but a little bit more, and there's definitely some stocks that are worth looking into because they are going on continued runs and they're still pretty cheap, so if you get in at the right time, you can make a pretty decent profit. And again, as always, I'm calling this out in the Discord live, whatever stocks I'm trading. So if you're not in that yet, definitely check it out in the link down in the description. So let's dive into my computer without further ado so I can show you guys these charts for tomorrow because it's time to get that bread on Money Monday, baby. All right, guys, so one of my biggest watches for Monday, which is tomorrow, is GGII. I almost messed up that ticker, GGII. And you can see this stock has gone on a crazy run. But it's very similar to a stock that we've already seen, RGBP. There's another one I'm still watching for tomorrow, but they both went from 0.002 and went on a pretty crazy run. Now, the difference here is that GGII has had 3 green days in a row and topped off not even up 1,000%, and RGBP went up 4,000% before pulling back. So I'm not sure what's going to happen on this one. I really do not know. It closed kind of mid-range. So we need to see what happens because if it can break these highs right here, I think it could get really interesting. But if it can't, it's probably just going to fade off all the way back on down. So this is definitely one that I'm going to be watching very carefully, especially if it gaps up and if it holds these support levels, especially that 1 cent psychological area. So this is definitely one you need to keep on your watch list because it definitely has a lot of volatility and a lot of opportunity. So definitely stay looking into that one. Let's see what else. Yeah, so WTII. This one is one that got mentioned by Fat Cash, and it closed insanely strong. So if I go and look at the overall chart on this one, you can see that it's had some spikes, but it was able to absolutely rip through those highs. I mean, just absolutely destroy it and hit almost 4 cents. So that's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool. And based on how it closed really strong. I feel like this is probably going to gap up tomorrow. Now, there's no guarantees, but if we get some continued momentum out of this thing, it would be awesome to trade it from the long side. Hopefully, it can go on a beautiful multi-day run, maybe get up towards 8 cents like RGBP did. But if not, it could also be a decent short given how high it is. Now, again, this is a penny stock, so you will not be able to short that many shares, especially for stocks under 10 cents, but it's still something that could provide enough range where, again, if you short 10,000 shares and you make a penny a share, that's $100 right there. So, I mean, it does add up if it gets really overextended, and this could easily drop 2 pennies a share tomorrow. So I mean, if you can short 20,000 shares, 35,000 shares, whatever it is, it does add up. But I'm willing to take whatever this is going to give me, and that's something that you really got to wait and see for, because when a stock is up this much, 2 big green days in a row, sometimes you do not get continuation. But what I do like about this is the way that it closed. Again, so it closed literally right at those highs. So that, I would say, that's a pretty good sign that we get some continuation tomorrow. But again, there's no guarantees, so you just have to be able to adapt to whatever the chart is showing you. If this thing gaps up and starts spiking right at open, I would definitely try to be buying that and try to ride that momentum as far as it will go. But if it opens maybe, I don't know, 3.6 or something and then starts fading off, that's probably more of a short. So you just got to be prepared because these charts, there's ways to make money on both the long and the short side. And if you just buy and hold blindly up here, I feel like it's pretty likely that you're going to take some L's. So just keep that in mind and be careful. PJET. This is one that had some pretty nice volatility, and I think I traded this one to the long side. Again, my buying power is limited because of Schwab only letting me use settled cash on OTCs, but I think I used some buying power on this one. Again, Friday was, it feels like a lifetime ago given the weekend trip, but this is one that you also want to keep on your radar. And all of these, I'm pretty sure, have stop signs, which means you cannot trade them on Fidelity, which is Pretty annoying, I know. If you are a Fidelity user, I was a sole Fidelity user. I had no other brokerages for a long time, but I think it is worth getting just because we've been having a lot of these stop sign plays that are moving a ton. So I mean, this is just another, it's just another example. And I think if this makes it over 1 penny, it could be a really nice breakout. And we'll see what happens, man. But, obviously this chart, it feels like it wicks a lot. So you got to keep that in mind. You can look at the past history of the chart and see how much it's actually been able to spike and hold those gains. So this one may just fade off and may not be worth looking at. So if this just fades off, this is too cheap for me to short under a penny. I can't really short that. It's not going to fall enough for me to make any money. So this is only worth longing, and only if it can break out over these highs here and then get over that penny mark. So just keep that in mind, guys. Definitely want to watch, but nothing to rush into. RGBP, I did mention this one, but it's still kind of in this range, and it cannot really break out of there. You can see it's like just bouncing back and forth since it pulled back off those 4,000% and 3-day highs. So we'll see how this one reacts to these levels, and if it keeps pushing higher, making higher lows and higher highs, if it gets back above that 376 level, whatever the high of this, 377, whatever the high of this candle is, if it makes it above that level, that's a pretty good sign. Again, there's room on the long side and the short side on this stock, regardless of which preference you have. I feel like there's room on both sides. So hopefully this thing pushes back up after those 2 red days, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so after 2 red days in a row, hopefully it has a green day tomorrow and can push up and rip through those highs here, maybe get back above 4 cents. I would absolutely love to see that. That would be kind of the ideal situation on this one. So we got to see what the chart does. And again, I don't know what it's going to do. I cannot predict the future. I only react to it. So that's why I have the Discord. That's why I call stuff out. Let's see. OZSC. This is one that has been running pretty much in tandem with AITX. And this is one of those where it's been really, really beaten down over the last couple of months and just kept breaking lower and lower. All those key support levels, that 7.5 area. I'm trying to draw it here. I mean, you can see this area, I drew that a little bit too low, but right here, let me try one more time. Kind of this area. I didn't mean to have that be crooked. I wanted to have that be horizontal. But you can see when it broke past this, it just kept fading on down. But now we have 3 green days in a row. So that is a pretty good sign. But 3 days in a row on a stock like this, show me where else you see 3 green days in a row. I guess technically here there was 4. But then we got a couple red days after. So the more green days in a row it has, the more likely it is that the red day is coming. And based on how well it consolidated here, you can see it consolidated really well. I actually already have the support line drawn. So this is beautiful, guys. So this, to me, means that it's very, very clear what we should do. So for me, if it breaks down under this support level, I'm shorting it, especially if it breaks down under 12. That'll be a great sign to short. And this can fall a lot of cents. This could easily fall a couple cents in a day. But if it breaks out over this level, that's also a pretty easy long. Because again, whenever you get this consolidation, it's forming a new base. So that new base is either going to be resistance from the top end or it's going to be support, coming back down. So I really love to see charts like this. And if it breaks out past those highs, it's definitely a long, in my opinion. You can risk off the low of this consolidation area if you want to be a little more patient than I am when I just cut as soon as it goes against me. But I think, again, this thing could be a great trade from both the long side and the short side. So I just love charts like this. They're charts that keep on giving. AITX is a pretty similar thing. You can see this range just was not as tight. But again, if this thing breaks down under 10 cents, to me that's a short. If it breaks above those highs here, even probably 11 cents even, and is able to hold that, I would say that's pretty decent. So we'll see how this one turns out. But this is another chart, AITX, that has both long potential and short potential. Just a few other ones in the OTC land. FBCD. This is one that held its gains pretty nicely and closed near those highs. This was another fat cash pick, I do believe. And you can see, it's breaking out, consolidating, breaking out, consolidating, breaking out. So We'll see if it just consolidates in these areas or if it gets another explosive green day. It really could go either way. Again, this is a sub penny, so there's not really much room to the short side here. So this is only interesting to me from a long. And again, that would be if it breaks above. I keep right clicking, man. That'll be if it breaks above this level right here. So I'll be watching that level carefully, as well as the 1 cent area. GVSI. This is the one that George Sharp is taking custodianship of. Again, we all know what happened with TSMP, which is now Humble. He took that thing from 0.0001. I'm not sure when he actually came on, but obviously went all the way up after the reverse split. It went up to 7, but before the reverse split, it was like 186 or something like that. So I mean, like over 1,000,000% return, and I don't expect anything like that out of GVSI. But just having him on it, the charts honestly look kind of similar. They look kind of similar, and this had an explosive green day. So this is high on the watch list because this thing really held those gains. And I mean, golly, if this thing breaks out over 2 cents, I think this thing has a lot of potential to keep running. So definitely keep an eye on this one because old George Sharpie has some big effects on stocks. And I think the other one that he was involved in was WRIT. He's also trying to get custodianship of that one, but it's kind of faded down since then. So I don't know if that's good enough of a catalyst to make it pop back up again. I think he may have announced it around here on this green day. So not watching this one too much. I would say GVSI is way more of a watch, especially based on the chart and all the beautiful liquidity. I mean, you can take some nice big size with this stock. All right, so those are all the OTCs that I have for you guys. Again, there were some updates on MIDI, but again, the chart, there's not really much to talk about. Very low volume chart, but the CEO did have some nice updates, and I put those in the pinned comment of one of my previous videos. So go check that out if you haven't already. So in terms of Nasdaqs, guys, OCGN was the absolute leader here, and you can see actually if I go to a little bit longer chart, you can see this thing has been squeezing hard. And I think that's just because of the market we are in. A lot of shorts were aggressive and probably didn't cover, and it just kept squeezing, man. Kept squeezing, broke out here, continued, and I was trying to short this thing into this bounce here, but then I had to go to the airport, man, and I'm just really frustrated because they announced an offering right here, and you get a 20% drop in 2 minutes, man. A 20% drop in 2 minutes. Absolutely nuts. So I have that trend line there, so you can see it. I don't know how to delete this. I'm trying to delete it. Remove drawn. There you go. So you can see it's a 20% drop in 2 minutes, which is insane, man. So I would have been banking on the short side if I had been in this when it happened, but I wasn't. So unfortunately, now we got to. I don't want to draw these random lines. Stop. Too many lines. All right, let me zoom out. So now we just got to deal with the chart and remaining what it is, figuring out what to do with the backside of this chart. And if it feels like the backside after an offering, typically it is. So in my opinion, to me, this is more of a short. This is more of those short setups. So it's up a ton from this $5 area, and if you're shorting where, at the $11 area, the $10 area, there's a lot of downside, man. This could go all the way down to $8, $7. $6.50 in one day, in my opinion. So it can definitely pull back a lot, and I think it should be an easy short. And you just got to be tight with your risk. And if it starts squeezing again, don't be stubborn because things can always squeeze higher than you think. So this is a good shorting chart in my personal opinion. Uxin. This is another one that I feel like is going to be a really, really good short tomorrow. If I go pull up the charts, you guys can see. This is the daily chart for 1 year. You can see every single time it spikes up, it just fails. Spikes up and 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 just fails. So I know I just said that like 50 times, but it's just so you guys can understand the history of this chart, the history of this particular stock is spiking up and failing. So the fact that we set these highs here means you have pretty defined risk. And when this thing goes red and opens red, opens lower than where it closed, on Friday at the end of the day, it should just fade down all day. So that's what I expect on this one. Again, any single stock can turn into an all-day squeezer if the stock gods so desire. So you got to be careful, got to lock in some gains. Do not be stubborn, but this should be another easy all-day fader if you guys are looking for stocks to short, in my personal opinion. SYPR, this is kind of another one of those stocks where I think it should be an easy all-day fader. And this is just because looking at this chart, it spikes up and then it comes back down. It has like one-day spikes and then it fails. Huge spike here and then it just failed. Huge spike here and then it just failed. Well, that's what I'm assuming is going to happen. So I mean, if you look at this overall chart, it still has a long way that this thing can drop. So if you're shorting here, you know, even at $4, man. If you're shorting at $4, I think it could easily get down to $3. You know, it could easily just be one of those all-day faders down to 3. So in my opinion, this is another good all-day short. Let's see. MVIS. To me, this is another good short. And I know I'm talking about a lot of shorts, but this one is actually good from either the short or the long side because it all depends on what the chart looks like. So you can see here, I drew this resistance line back when I was looking at this to prep for the video. If it breaks out over this area right here and sets a new high, probably the 20 area psychologically is going to be a better breakout. But if it does that, I would say it's a good long. But more likely than not, this thing just fades back on down into the $12 area. And it might be in one day or it might be in a couple days. But regardless, I think if you're shorting here at 18 or 19, you're risking high a day from the previous day on Friday. I think that's pretty high risk. I mean, pretty high odds in your favor. So I think that's a decent short. This could be another good trade. There's a lot of Nasdaqs guys that are setting up to be some pretty decent trades. And again, this could also be good from the long side if it breaks out there. And that is pretty much it for the Nasdaqs, except for this one IPO, Swim. Literally just has one candle because it was an IPO, first day of the stock trading. But I mean, if you're into that, if you're into IPOs, it definitely was doing something. Definitely was doing something. So I don't know. If you guys want to trade that, go for it. That's pretty much it. Hopefully you found this helpful. I'm ready to kill it tomorrow. Hopefully you guys are ready to destroy this market as well. Seems like the momentum might be coming back a little bit, so fingers crossed that continues. And I will see you guys tomorrow in the Discord. I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, you know the drill. Let's grow better together. Preguntar, bebé, dime por qué te mientes. No puedes esconder todo lo que tú por mí sientes.